And it is time for everybody's favorite person.
Shill. A shill for sure.
It happened, Gons. It finally happened. Chris Shillzilla. He's made it to the big time. We've been watching him for years, rooting for him, scoffing at him, making fun of him, but all in good fun. They're not giving him a show on CNN, but he finally has started his own podcast. That's right. Chris Shillzilla, he's joining the illustrious ranks of degenerates called podcasters. And it's about time. Have you seen this, Guns? Of course you have.
Well, before you start, I do want to quickly debunk this idea that Chris Shillzilla is breaking onto the podcast scene with this particular show that we're going to talk about through CNN.
Sure.
Because he did have a show titled Sequizza, the Fix podcast under
what is that? Sorry. So Sequizza? Sequizza. Can you spell that for me, please?
Ciquizza. Sequizza.
Huh. And you're saying I've never heard of a show called Sequizza. Never made it to the top podcasting list. Never made it. Do you like
game shows and politics?
Sequizza. Was this produced by Sequizza himself, or was this a CNN property? What was this?
I think it was through Washington Post. And his last episode that he published was on 30 episodes published.
That must be a long time ago.
March 16th, 2017. He has like a 30-second thing, a 1-minute podcast where he's like, this is the last time I'm going to be publishing on Washington Post because I'm going to CNN, moving up in the world.
Wow.
But yeah, he had a Sequizza, the Fix podcast. So he's not a newcomer. He's returning to his true love.
30 episodes. No.
Listen to this description for that show, too. Do you like game shows? Do you like politics? Whatever. You will love the Sequizza anyway.
That's pretty hurtful. It's a pretty painful thing.
Well, that's his
now
shtick.
he's got a new show. His new show is produced by CNN. Excuse me, 1 second.
Clearing some pipes is what I'm guessing is going on.
Yes. Yeah. I'm trying to. The medication's starting to wear off.
Yeah.
His new show is called Downside Up. Downside Up. And
as above, so below.
CNN.
Yeah.
It's got a as above, so below type of vibe. And the thumbnail. First, let me read you the description, okay?
Sure, yeah, of course.
And then we'll look at the thumbnail, and then we'll see if they match. So it goes like this. What if the parts of our lives we've accepted as normal were totally different? What if... Whoa, bro, pass the bong. What if normal things were not what they are, dude? What if dogs had... Okay, that's how I'm going to read this. Excuse me. What if the parts of our lives we've accepted as normal were totally different, dude? What if dogs had never been domesticated? Or humans had no sense of flavor? Oh, dude. What would have happened to the spice trade? And how would have that shaped the future of the world, man? Join CNN's Chris Shillzilla as he speaks with journalists, experts, and forward-thinking futurists.
Oh, I think that's Basil.
I was gonna say, thank you.
You need to be on the show.
Well, I have not heard from Chris's people. I am a forward-thinking futurist, okay? I called the googly eyes on the robotic arm, making smoothies. Nobody is as forward-thinking futuristy as myself to help us envision what might have been, dude, and how even a small shift in the status quo could change our world completely. Whoa, dude.
You must have watched some Butterfly Effect or something. It sounds like he's heavily influenced by movies, like pop culture movies.
What if things were different, dude? There's first episode was on October 3rd.
It was like an introductory thing.
No, that was September 15th.
Oh, September 15th.
Was the teaser.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
October 3rd was what would the world look like without flavor?
Uh-huh.
What would the world look like without flavor, bro? Imagine you woke up tomorrow morning and couldn't taste your favorite meal, dude.
Oh, I wonder.
Imagine.
Is there? I think a lot of people can somewhat relate to that.
Are there perhaps millions of people who caught COVID and lost their sense of taste, who possibly, whoa, dude, are living the exact hypothetical situation you based the entire first episode of your podcast on? Whoa. Imagine you couldn't experience flavor at all. Okay, just another way of saying couldn't taste things. So far his thing says, imagine if you couldn't taste your favorite meal. Imagine if you couldn't taste at all. How would it affect your day-to-day world? There's no lunch dates, because of course you don't eat lunch if you don't taste things. No birthday cakes. Yeah, okay. No barbecues. Oh, and it goes on. Where'd it go? On this episode of Downside Up, Shillzilla is joined. And then it goes on. Okay, so the thumbnail is sort of a trippy thing. It's got, let's just start with right in the middle. We've got a crystal ball with a single eyeball staring out of it. And if you notice the single eyeball in the center of the thumbnail, you might not really think about it, but you look closely. The pupil on this eyeball it's bigger than Hunter Biden. Bigger than Hunter Biden's pupils
this is where you hide.
Video
yeah, so you know how
hotel room.
Yeah, when you draw eyes, you put that reflecting glow on it, so you kind of put, so that's a C, Basil. It's Shillzilla. C. Come on. We can't decode this.
No, that's an eyeball.
I know it's drugs. An eyeball, but I'm saying
an eyeball
the
on
pupil
drugs.
of
It's
the
on
eyeball
drugs.
Is a C
it's
for
on
Chris.
Drugs. He heard Shillzilla, or he heard Joe Biden is decriminalizing marijuana and started a trippy podcast. So it's a crystal ball with an eyeball in the middle staring right at you. And then sort of like two purple hands, like sort of, I don't know.
Open palm.
Kind of an open palm, as if the hands are levitating the crystal ball. It makes no sense, is what it is. It's like it looks like the podcast should be called, I don't know, Bong Thoughts with Bong Thoughts with Rainbow the Wizard is what it should be called. Okay, let's do that. Let's recreate one of the artists. Go grab the Downside Up thumbnail. Take out the Downside Up. It's called Bong Thoughts with Chris the Wizard. And that's what it is. Now, Guns, you have provided a valuable service to everyone here because we've been talking about Chris for some time now. We're possibly his biggest fans, or at least the most responsible for his sort of algorithmic I don't know, mentions on audio platforms.
We've helped with the algos on like Twitter and stuff by talking about him. Yeah.
We track his career more closely than pretty much literally anybody but his mom. And the audience right now, our producers might be tempted to go listen to this podcast. I'm telling you right now, folks, you do not have to do this. You can if you want, but you do not have to, because Gons, has brought the podcast to you. You had a listening experience. Will you tell us about the podcast?
I had a listening party. Yeah, I had a downside up listening party. I was sipping on some tea.
You brought out the bong for bong thoughts with Rainbow Chris the Wizard.
And so I got a couple clips here. This is the intro tag to really get you going.
I'm Chris Shillzilla, and you're listening to the very first episode of Downside Up, a new podcast from CNN that looks for answers to some of the weirdest what-if questions of our time. This week, we're wondering, what would the world be like without flavor? So join us as we turn our taste buds downside up.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Okay, now look. We are certainly going to be tempted to excoriate Chris for all sorts of details of this. But right off the bat, it's interesting because he's creating a podcast based around a premise that is precisely mimicking the premise of some of the most widely distributed and listened to podcasts. He's doing a Radio Lab or a 99% Invisible or a This American Life or How Is It Made?
Yeah, the stuff that got popular in 2014.
Yeah, the literal sort of NPR foundation of podcasting as a medium people listen to. He's just recreating that. I would say inadvisable plan, Chris, but okay, if you want to try to do better than Jada Boomerad, good luck, my man.
Well, he doesn't have the kind of editing skills yet, but he will.
Okay.
Especially if he's going to be talking about his personal stuff in here. Now, he's very culturally, educated. You can call it that. And he references Ratatouille. You know that movie, Ratatouille, the
yes,
cooking rat thing. And of course, they were talking about tasting things. So that brings up that reference here.
Everyone has their own personal ratatouille. For me, it's my grandma's spaghetti and meatballs. Every time I went and got my haircut, she would be making meatballs. It was always a giant pot, bubbling full with lots of meatballs. Delicious.
Whoa. Delicious.
Loves meatballs.
Loves meatballs. Okay. Big meatball fan. These are good things to remember because someday, he's a podcaster now. So it's possible that we might be able to get him as a guest on something.
Oh yeah, he's stepped into.
He's on our turf now. So we could figure something out. We better be careful. That's why I want Chris to know and his people. They obviously are keeping track. I just want you guys to know we're having fun here. We're having a jab with you guys over there at Chris Shillzilla Inc. But seriously, come on our show. Come on, Canary Cry. Well, I have so many questions, and I would love to pick Chris's brain about meatballs.
This clearly has some affinity. I like meatballs too. I'm just confused about why did he only get meatballs when he got haircuts, or what is the significance of the haircut?
Gons, he's making he's telling a story to activate the nostalgia and the importance of flavor in our experience of life. Connecting it to mom and haircuts.
Mom and haircuts.
I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got?
So we got at the very end. So, I didn't listen to the entire episode, all 33 plus minutes there. I think about 35 minutes with the ads in there. But at the very end of the show, it brings up Ratatouille. So he has a guest and she, has a conversation with him, and they do kind of a Q&A, like a rapid fire Q&A at the end. And the last question was if this guest knew what the restaurant that Ratatouille was based on. Like, she knows the restaurant. And here's the exchange here.
This real world spot that can be found in Napa Valley, California, and has been called the best restaurant in the world. Name that restaurant.
That would be Chez Panisse.
It's the French Laundry.
No!
Whoa.
Sounded sadistic, and he's just invoking liberal tears,
Wow. He's trying to kind of poke fun at a Gavin Newsom thing there.
Something, yeah. I didn't listen to the whole show. There could have been an earlier reference to the Gav man, the gruesome guy. But
Yeah.
to have it be French Laundry, maybe a sore spot for the pool of
yeah.
guests that would be coming on to this show.
They're really not pulling any punches, bro. Wow.
Bringing the heat.
I think it's of note. It's relevant that his first episode is about what the world would be like without flavor, because anybody following Chris Shillzilla over to his podcast is used to
careful.
having no taste. There, I said it. Okay, all right. Okay, no taste like that joke, Chris. It's a joke. Come on the show, man. I want to talk to you.
Not a joke.
Not a joke.
About
it is
coming
a
on.
joke.
No. About coming onto the show. That's not a joke.
Serious. I would love to talk to Chris. He doesn't even have to be. Look, we've got a lot of media properties that he could interact with. He could come on. He could come on the Joyspiracy Theory if he wants sort of a lighthearted experience.
Mm-hmm.
He could come on Ravel if he would like to share his deep thoughts about theology in the world, or he can come on Canary Cry.
If he makes it to Age of Deceit, then something is seriously wrong. Real wrong going on if he's on one of those. All right. So there you go. Thank you,
All right.
Chris. We'll keep track of the downside up.
I'm gonna listen to it. I meant to listen to it on a plane, but I couldn't download it. I don't know what was wrong. I'm sorry, Chris. I'll catch up.
Yeah. It's hard to keep up with all them podcasts. There's a lot of them out there now. Yeah.
I know.